Welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. If this is your first time tuning in, hello and welcome. And I think you should go back about 3 episodes. But for those of you who are chronologically challenged like me, meaning you have to do things in a specific order, this is episode 4 of the podcast Insequeer. I am your Insequeer host, Chloe Beck. And today I have a few things on my heart, and I don't know where this is going to all come out. But my goal is to just be honest. So, as I pan between my two big topics, I think I want to do the one that I've been dreading because my podcast just seems heavy all of a sudden. It seems like whenever I decide to push play in life be like, oh, bitch, you ready? Then we ready. But there's something that has recently occurred in my life that has put so much of my insecurity in my face, and it would only be right that I talk about it here. So bear with me through this one. And while this is very therapeutic for me, I hope it has some nuggets and jewels for you. And if not, I mean, there's always podcasts where you just don't jive with an episode, but I don't think this will be the case for many of you. But I don't even know who's listening. But shout out to me. I got 25 downloads already when I haven't even publicized this podcast. So somebody's listening. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. But now I got to talk about it. So this podcast is going to be entitled Home is Where the Hurt Is. And okay, let me tell you why. Okay, so about 2 weeks ago, my little cousin Jade Davis, died. And first, I'll just get all the particulars out of the way, and then I'll kind of try to unpack as much as I can, given the time allotment, because it's a work day and I probably have a dumbass Zoom meeting somewhere. So about 2 weeks ago, my cousin Jade, who was 21 years old, a mother of 3 children of the ages 4, 3, and 9 months, died due to complications of an apartment fire. The fire happened in the apartment below hers, where someone lit a candle and I'm going to go ahead and say left their children unaccompanied and with fireworks, and fireworks got too close to the candle mysteriously, and my cousin Jade was found in the fetal position in the hallway protecting her 4-month-old son Jace. And her fiance, he was able to get their other 2 children out. And when he went back in to try to get Jade, he himself passed out and was unable to get to her. And when the fire department got there, they found her literally covering her baby's body. And she was unresponsive, and, they had to bring her back. And in doing so, they found no brain activity, and for 2 days, she sat on a ventilator and died. She died. Jade died. I have so much insecurity around this topic because it's always been so hard for me to explain to people who are not Black, honestly, what a cousin is. I think we all have different terminologies and family structures are so different, but I've always been around people who those family titles are just that. Like, I've had students, I've had friends, I've had colleagues who, oh yeah, my grandmother sends me this purse, or my grandmother does this thing, or I don't really talk to my grandmother, and yeah, I have a bunch of extended relatives, and they immediately say, yeah, I have cousins. And in my family structure, cousin is synonymous with brother. Cousin is synonymous with sister. Cousin is synonymous with damn near parent. And so I always have become, anytime a cousin passes or a family member passes, I try to downplay what they meant to me, because I'm engaging with people who have shown me what those family member titles mean to them. if that makes sense. So now I have a lot to say about this Jade situation. I have a lot to say about all of it, but I start with saying I have to give myself more grace in acknowledging what family means to me because my family is so small. Because there's only, I feel like you can fit my family inside of a small restaurant and that's it. Um, my immediate family can fit in a minivan. Like, it's just me, my mom, my older brother, my older sister. She has two daughters and he has one daughter, and that is my family. Um, and I'm so insecure about that fact that my family is so small that I just avoid them, right? I already try to live my life as if they don't exist because I still have not fully recovered from those who have passed, right? Like, I can guarantee you there's a grandma episode just looming, right? Um, and Jade is the little sister of my damn near twin cousin, my cousin Chucky, who was killed maybe 3 years ago, shot 6 times in a barber shop because he chose to live a life that would allow that to be his demise. So I only go home. Home is Cleveland, Ohio, 216, home of the OJs, home of Bone Thugs and Harmony, home of my biggest insecurity, Cleveland, Ohio. Go Tribe, Cleveland Indians, where we have a really racist mascot, but I grew up loving it and I don't know how to place that. Um, Cleveland, Ohio, where LeBron James was ours, and then he made a decision to go to Miami. We hated him, and then he came back and he gave us a ring, and then he left, and we understood. Cleveland, a place where if you do what you say and mean what you say, you might be okay. Uh, Cleveland, probably the first 48's favorite place to film. Cleveland, home of the Polish boy. Cleveland, Believe Land, The Mistake by the Lake. I was a mistake by the lake. My mom told me I was conceived by accident at the lake, which I find out later that was actually rape. So hey, Cleveland, trauma, Cleveland, Cleveland. It's my home. It's the home of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Hey, that's a positive. Great Lakes Science Center, also a positive. Um, Home of Tamir Rice, not so positive, but Cleveland is where I'm from. But Cleveland is a place where I never want to go back. I have no desire to set up shop, to retire, to bring my future there. I have no desire to do anything with Cleveland, Ohio. And it's part of why this podcast hurts my feelings so much. And it's part of why it fucking sucks that I'm insecure about where I'm from. So, Cleveland. I only go home for funerals. That's been the running reality. And I only go home for funerals because it hurts to go any other time. Like, if I'm going to be hurt, it might as well be to say goodbye to somebody. Like, why would I spend my coveted vacation time in the place of all my traumas? In the places where I was molested, in the places where I gained my eating disorder, in the places where I felt like nothing. Why would I go spend a vacation there, right? But my mom, also an episode coming, or 7, she's getting older, right? So, fun fact, I and my partner, also a lot of insecurities there. Damn, y'all about to just get all the precursors. So I'm currently in New York City. I currently work at probably the greatest institution in the world if you don't work at it. And in the middle of COVID, I work in Res Life, so we're kind of just like, we're the crew that goes down with the ship. So I've been kind of stuck here, but they're still saying, hey, take vacation, even though the world's on fire, but use your days because we're not going to do anything with them and we're not going to pay you for them. So wear a mask, get some hand sanitizer, and go live your COVID life. So with that being said, my partner lives in Vegas, or her family is in Vegas, and it was always the dream to just kind of go vacation there because on top of it being a place where her family is, Vegas is always kind of a vacation spot, even though casinos are closed. See, conundrum. Vegas seemed way more appealing than Cleveland. But right before COVID happened, my mom came for Christmas. She wasn't looking well. I ended up in the emergency with her for some things. So my insecurity time clock is ticking with my mom because every time I wake up, I think this is the day that she's going to die, which is why, ooh, bitch, y'all did not know what y'all tuned in for. But I would have felt a way because since we don't know how COVID is going to continue, we don't know what work will look like, we don't know what time off will look like. I was like, we have to make a pit stop in Cleveland. At the very least, I want to go home and show my mom how to use FaceTime so I can see her versus her fucking talk to text, which I don't think she speaks English to her phone. So I was like, I want to lay eyes on my mom because I haven't seen her because after she left in December, literally like when COVID hit, like probably March 12th, March 13th, she ended up in the emergency room and needed pints of blood and had to have some random surgeries, which I don't know all the facts because no one tells me anything because they think I'm 12. But I just want to be home with my mom. I don't want to go across all the way to Vegas and then get the call that I'm already dreading here from New York. So fast forward, it was going to be a stealth pop in to see my mom, slide over to Vegas, come back to the hell that is New York City. And as luck would have it, uh, that trip was supposed to take place July 1, and Jade died June 12th. So just to be on the first world problems, very inconvenient because now it's like, fuck, I got to go there a lot earlier than I anticipated. And because of some of my other insecurities, like I only stay in hotels when I go home or like burden and just my own comfortability. And now I'm traveling with a partner and we have two dogs. And now all of that has been pushed forward because now this funeral. And then also in my black ass family because we have money for Hennessy and we have money for weed and we have money for not the best lace fronts, but we have money for quick weaves, which I don't know what generation you all grew up in, but that was terrible when it came out, so it's damn sure terrible now that it's gone out. But the one thing that my family, for the most part, doesn't seem to quite have is life insurance policies, right? Like, what the fuck is a life insurance policy? Like, if I could equate my family to any saying, it's like Big Ange, I'm here for a good time, not a long time. But what Big Ange forgot to say is that when my time is up, I'm going to make sure I have money to bury my ass, right? Because when Chucky got killed, circa, I want to say 2017, 16, I can't remember the dates. When Chucky got killed, I rushed home because that's what you do in a family emergency. You need to jump into the misery of that. But what I didn't jump into was realizing that, hey, when you're a drug dealer, you don't necessarily get a 401k or a retirement plan or benefits, right? So I rushed home and I sat in Cleveland, Ohio for 1 month before they raised enough money to bury my cousin, right? So I'm watching niggas sell dinners. I'm watching people beg. I'm watching people fight. I'm on top of, I am just in the middle of a trauma internally, but now because I'm the one who made it, which fuck made it. Fuck made it. Fuck making it and fuck being the one who has to make it because that is why this podcast is filming right now. But because I'm the one who made it and I'm the one who has just the cognitive understanding or the access to know that my job does come with life insurance or I do have health insurance, I had no clue just how many people do not. Just how GoFundMe should just directly be linked to a funeral home because no one prepares for the reality that we're not going to always be here. So what I learned from the death of my best friend, twin brother, drug dealing ass cousin, is that I probably shouldn't rush home this time because if they didn't have money for him, Jade had 3 kids, and based on what I saw of her life via social media, I'm pretty sure that she also did not have life insurance, and I was correct, right? So, but just knowing that I would have to come home, knowing that I would have to engage, knowing that I would have to be scared to be with my family because of how much I have made it and the things that I have acquired are now things that make me an enemy in my own home, I became stressed. I fought with my partner about it. I cry in every corner about it. I have beat myself up because I don't want to go home. I beat myself up because if only I could have gotten Jade to visit me one time, she could have died before. She could have died knowing that she had left Cleveland, Ohio and had saw more than what her statistic ass life gave her. I beat myself up because I had to go to my network of friends, family, and colleagues, family chosen, and ask for donations to help bury my cousin. When 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and probably a week after her funeral, you're going to see me buying Jordans because that's where I find my peace because of another insecurity. That will be another episode somewhere down the line. It made me angry because I had a student who I didn't even know we were close. I didn't even know she cared. I didn't even know, and maybe it's not even about me, but someone who met me read that post and donated $1,000 without looking back. And then I looked over all my accounts and realized what it would do to my stability and my own actual black ass master's degree, working on a second master's, probably going to be somebody's PhD. What taking $1,000 out of my savings will do, and just how it was probably nothing for that student who I mentored. That's another insecurity. It's really upsetting to mentor someone who ends up making quadruple what you make, and then for them to say it's all because of you. And I'm like, bitch, fuck me. I want to make the money you make. Fuck that. I don't want to mentor nobody else. I want to mogul myself. But we'll table that. So, and then as social media does what it does, I started to watch my family unravel. While I'm unraveling here, sitting in my platinum prison of peace and finance and health insurance and life insurance, and my biggest struggle being that I'm going to be uncomfortable, and I say that lightly, going to be uncomfortable going home. I watch my family fight with each other with poor grammar all over Facebook. Oh, the classist in me really misses when Facebook was just for people who had a college ID. But now I understand it's for everyone, but it bothers me when you spell things incorrectly and don't even try. But that's another topic for another day. So I'm watching my family unravel. I'm watching Jade's mother, who I won't put too much of her business out there, but drugs. I'm watching her cuss out Jade's fiance, father of all three of her children, and I say that because insecurity, because I put judgment on the fact that she's 21 and has 3 kids under 5, but at least I can say they all have the same father. God rest her soul. She was working towards something there. Misguided, but she was working with what she had, and she was doing the best given those circumstances. But it's not the life that I wanted for her. It's damn sure not the life I want for me. But I suffer and struggle with how do I get, you can lead a horse to water, but I'm beating myself up because I didn't even tell the horse there was water. But anyway, so, but then my struggle with knowing that I'm no longer in the bubble, which is a term my partner uses. For those of us who grew up in those stereotypical black families where literally only one of you make it, or you beat every odd because you were a crack baby, or if you're me, you have a mom who is the poster child for needing mental health intervention and has terrible alcoholism and depression and has literally birthed that into you. Once you make it out of that, you can't get back. Like I have not been successful in getting back. And when I say getting back, I mean just being able to be Chloe when you go home. From a very young age, even though I grew up with these people, I slept on the same floor with these people. We played on the same playgrounds. We rode the same bikes with no brakes. I was fortunate that my mom and my grandmother had a little bit of something more to give me. So I did not get pregnant very young, or currently not, unless someone knows different. I didn't get pregnant. I beat that statistic. I did not fall victim to drugs. I beat that statistic. I was not a high school dropout. I beat that statistic times over, okay? School was for me. You hear me? School was for me. But I still know where I came from. And there are parts of that I'm so proud of, which includes my relationship with my cousins. Because I always have to be, I have allowed myself to believe that I always have to be some version of perfect, because you don't want your white colleagues or counterparts or even your people of color who don't grow up in that statistic to judge you, right? You buy a certain outfit, you wear a certain piece of clothing, you do a certain thing, you drink a certain wine that you hate, rosé, because you just don't want to be the basket case, the hand me down, the affirmative action friend. But damn, when you get to go home, you can say nigga, you can say stupid, you can say fuck it, you can say all the things that will get you judged because you've proven yourself to be a part of the talented 10th, until you go home and they tell you, you think you're better than us. You have money and I don't have money, and give it to me. And I like that North Face backpack you got there, cuz let me get that. Or what size shoe is that? Or Chloe got it. Or the unspoken reality of, if you don't give it to us, we will fucking rob you and take it, as the same person who changed your diapers when you were a baby. We will take from you because you are not us, because you got the fuck out so you can stay the fuck out. My insecurity lies with not having family. My insecurity lies with knowing that I could never dumb myself down enough to fit in my own family. That I have made it just enough to be too much and not enough for that same family at the same time. Whew. Fuck me. I'm so tired of being the cash cow. I'm so tired of being the one who makes these grand pilgrimages back from Georgia when I lived in Georgia, New York, now that I live in New York, to have to create the experience. I never got that welcome home Roscoe Jenkins. I never got that, look at Jamal, 365, went to college, his family so proud of him. And now I'm going to let it all hang out, okay? So when Jade died, I said, you know what, Chloe? None of that is about you. This girl needs to be buried and you need to do your part. And your grandmother and her grandmother, who's your favorite fucking cousin who died a few years ago, Harriet, they bent over backwards for you. And that coupled with something that one of my cousins said to me when Chucky died, and it haunts me every day. And I know her heart was in the right place, but her hurt, her intentions were good, but her impact was deadly. When Chucky died and I came home and I just felt like a foreigner in my own home, she said, you know, Chloe, your grandmother would be so disappointed in you for leaving us like this. You know your grandmother took care of everybody and she wanted you to do the same. Fuck me. That stabbed me and has been stabbing me and will continue to stab me until I find a therapy group, therapist. Iyanla, I keep referencing you, so girl, if you're listening, my grandmother died of stage 4 lung cancer, May 16, 2012, the exact same day as Donna Summers, as RuPaul says it, because colors like to give her the S, because she's multiple Summers, not just one in our book. They died from the same thing on the same day at the same time, stage 4 lung cancer. And my grandmother was 75 years old, and out of her 75 years of life, her entire job was to be a checkbook for our entire family, was to be the GoFundMe before we knew what computers was to be the one who buried anyone. If somebody died, you went to Lamorris Latimer and you said, hey, you're up. And I watched her do it, and she did it all the way up into herself. She gave herself the best funeral I've ever seen, and she left us nothing. Checkmate Granny. And I love her for it because saving that for the granny thing. But to that point, to Dominique's point, my cousin Dominique, who said that to me, my grandmother was always a pocketbook. And in my family, money equates to love. So she was loved because of what she did for people, not because of who she was. In juxtaposition for me, she didn't have to give me shit. I loved her because she breathed. I love her more now that she doesn't. But I've always wanted to be her because I've always felt like a mod. Like, hey, for those of you not black listeners, black homework assignment. If you have not seen the movie Soul Food, watch it. It's a really accurate but light or specific. I won't say light because the one thing that movie didn't do for me was talk about marriage. Like, that movie had way too many couples in marriage, and I didn't really grow up with the nuclear family example. But I always felt like the little boy in mine, him and Big Mama. Big Mama's told him, hey, nigga, you need to get the family together, keep us together, ride out for us. And Ahmad did that shit. And I've always wanted to be Ahmad, but I can't be Ahmad because Ahmad had a family who was not crackheads, who was not drunks, who was not raped, murdered, abused, broken, and who did not think that money trumped family, although there was a money scene and, money was a big thing because that's how Ahmad got them. But plot twist, in my life, I don't have a TV full of hundreds in my uncle's room ready to give the family to save all their problems. I don't have that. I don't have the money. I just have the heart, the hope, and the memory of what my family was. And it breaks me every day when I see what it is now. But when Dominique said that, it tugged at my heartstrings because I do believe my grandmother set me up to be the next version of her. But I can't die. I cannot die for other people who've made their choices. I cannot foot the bill for other people's poor choices. I can't foot the bill for my poor choices. I'm still trying to unlearn and relearn and let go of traumas that happened before I was here. So I'm sorry that I cannot pay. And I'm sorry that people have this distorted view of what the one that made it looks like. People who made it, I'm talking directly to you guys now. Stop having to carry the weight of your success coupled with your family's demise. Because you made it does not mean that you have to carry every single person in your life with you. Because when you made it, when you were writing those papers, when you were finding scholarships, when you were doing something strange to get some change for textbooks or whatever the fuck you had to do, when you was busting it open for your dues to be in the sorority that told you it was going to be a sisterhood, but it's not. Those people were at home. Some by choice, some by not, but they were at home. And I'm speaking about my family. I don't want to put this on your family. They were at home drinking. They were at home smoking. They were at home having babies. They were at home seeing the value of a welfare check while you was out here trying to pray that you never knew what welfare was. You made it. Sometimes making it is the gift you gave your family. I have a cousin who I love and adore today, but she left Cleveland, Ohio, and damn near, I feel like she was 16. One minute, I just remember her working real hard to get a car. She got a car, then I never saw her again. And it wasn't until the power of Facebook that I see her life and I see just the peace she has with never having to come back. She saw the demise of what our family could be and what it is. And she still hasn't told me all the reasons why she left, but what she did for me in leaving was more than what she could have ever done for me in paying my way or coming back to take me to McDonald's or showing me her life. She showed me the power of choosing self. So for those of you who made it, choose you. Because the people who you're trying to make it for and the people you think you have to pay back, they won't even give you a thank you when you do it. Now let me bring you back to my cousin Jade. So I had a shower the day she died. I had a shower and I sat and I talked to Harriet and I talked to my grandmother and I said, if it's her time, please take her. Do not make her suffer. And then she died. So thank you to my grandmother and thank you to Harriet and I know y'all got her. And I made a few promises to them, which I won't get into, but one of which is to pour into her son, Jace, the 4-month-old that she was found in the hallway with. He is alive and well. She saved his life. She did what I don't think her mother could have done for her. So Jade was breaking the cycle. She was being a good mom. She put her life literally on the line for her baby, but I'm mad at her for doing it because now we have 3 children who don't have her. No one can love those babies the way I saw her do it from social media because distance. And now that I see the family unfold and go through the same Scrooge crab in a barrel mentality, take, I hurt for those children. I can't save all 3. I can't save any of them, to be fully transparent, but I'm going to do my part to at least know them, and at the very least bring them to wherever the fuck I am at least one time, to show them that your life is so much more than the project you live in, the family you're born into, and the circumstances you're gifted. So now here's where my insecurity / jealousy / want for connection and community to my family rears its ugly head. It's ugly, and I own all of it. It's ugly. I wrote a post on Facebook about my cousin Jade. And eloquently spoken, because future wordsmith, current wordsmith, the wordsmith, we're not in the future, we're in the now. Excuse me. And none of those family members engaged with it. No likes, no comments, no nothing. And I was like, okay, it's just Facebook. You should not be that thirsty. It's literally not about you. They just lost their sister, daughter, niece. You're a cousin, even though cousin means the world to y'all when convenient. But right now, you're not the immediate family. And furthermore, you're so far removed because you live in New York. And your sentences, they probably couldn't understand because you used all the correct language, punctuation, tone, moving forward, being petty, throwing shade. And, when my cousin... And then so people started to share it. And I would see that they would like when someone else shared it. I was like, okay, so maybe they just don't know how Facebook works. So fuck me and my beautifully written words about my little cousin, but at least a message out there. So then the GoFundMe appears, right? And I take my time before I give it to my network because I have a strong one, even though I have an episode in queue about my struggle with friendship, which will probably be episode 5. But it's time to plug the GoFundMe, and I wait and I do it. And just like that, as soon as I do it, $1,000, $1,200, $1,400. And I can see my people. Thank you to those of you who donated. Thank you to those of you who had enough love for me to donate on my behalf. Thank you for those who just had the money and saw a really fucked up story about a 21-year-old dying with 3 kids, probably can donate. Thank you for however the reasons why. But for the sake of this story, we're going to use it as my connections, right? Because GoFundMe has this cool feature where you can see who donated. And when I tell you all my people donated and continue to donate and are giving cribs and clothes and all the things. But once again, I'm being petty. So, right, I do that. I take some time before I take it to Instagram. And once I take it to Instagram, it skyrocketed my people. But even before that, Jade's older sister reaches out to me. Now, I've already seen the GoFundMe. I've already plugged it. I've already read it. I've already done the things. But a day or so passes and she says, hey, I hope it's okay, but I used your Facebook post to write her GoFundMe page. I hope that's okay. Well, yes, it is okay. It's extremely okay. And thank you for asking. And whatever you need, it's for Jade. It's for Jade. It's for Jade. But petty me. So that means you saw when I wrote it, did not think to engage with it or say, hey, cousin, thank you for loving us. But you will use that shit to get funding for said cousin. Now, I'm going to do a whole episode on the pettiness that is social media. But what the fuck? What the fuck, really? Like you, and I'm not even mad at the little cousin who asked because she's sweet and I love her. And this is another reason why I need to just pick and choose the family that I choose, because she's someone who I cannot wait to bring to New York, because she's never been a problem. She too has beat the statistics, the odds very well, and she just minds her own business, which is so important where I come from. But then I think about people like her mom who raised me, who she's on social media like, oh, shout out to my sister for the dinner you brought over. Shout out to my friend for the onesie you gave me. Shout out for the drink. Shout out for the drink. Shout out for the drinks. When I, Chloe, your cousin, Big C, who you have left around drug dealers to potentially molest, cousin, who never judged you for when you go on your crack vacations, cousin, who has donated and raised over over $2,000 for your daughter's funeral, and you can't even say thank you off social media. You can't even respond to a text. You can't even respond to a call. But if I were to put 50 cash dollars in your hand, it would be Christmas. And I say that just to say to myself, look at who you're mad at. How can she fathom your earning potential for her when she doesn't have it for herself, right? But in the moment, it still hurts, because I'm also someone who feels very alone in my life, who feels like I don't have the friends that I've been begging and dreaming and watching on TV. Race might play a part in that, so Freudian slip. So I'm wounded, right? And I say that to say, be careful where you let your trauma bleed. Because once again, my cousin died. Her mother, no matter what burden she has to bear, no matter what she's done, she lost someone who she gave birth to. That family now has to pick up pieces and fill shoes that are just massive to raise her children and try to do their best, whatever that looks like. So fuck me and fuck who says what on what social media, but it's just another example of what making it means. Here I am saying, look at what my making it has done for our family. And they're still saying, bitch. And, so once again, for those of you who make it, you need to really understand discernment, which is a new word I'm learning. And you need to decide what making it means for you and your family. And you have to decide that no is a full sentence. And if your family are going to turn their back on you because you choose you the way that they choose them, maybe they should. In this life, we run behind so many people saying, pick me, choose me, love me. But we need to be saying that shit to who? Me. Say it to yourself. Because when you love you so much, it won't hurt your feelings that your crackhead cousin who did not ever really leave Cleveland don't know how to be grateful and thankful and appreciative. You won't be looking for those connection moments when you're connected to self. Now, I'm not going to say you don't need family, because, bitch, when I tell you I need it, I want it, but I'm terrified of it for this very reason, because families fuck families figuratively and literally. The burden, the weight, the delicacy of what it means to be a family, to foster a family, and to have a family, you need to be ready to do that. Excuse me. And I'm like 33. I like how I say like I'm not actually. I'm like in my 30s, and I am ready for children, but every day I see what a family member will do to said children, what I could do to said children, what traumas I can just bring to said children, what my partner and I's dynamic will do to a child. Nigga, I don't know if I'm ready, because it's such a gamble. I don't ever want to create a person that could, A, be shot in cold blood because the color of their skin or their sexuality or both, or just because they fit the description. But I also don't want to shoot them with my trauma. I don't want to impose on them my beliefs or my wants or my thoughts. I want to make sure that I am so secure in me that they're okay to be them. and that eventually I am okay enough to let them go. So right now, I say all that to say, making it is what you make it. And carrying the weight of your family and their trauma and their expectations and your hopes for approval and acceptance and all the things will only hurt you more if you are not real about it. If you don't have some type of reality check system. I should have never went into wanting to help my cousin thinking it would make me closer to my family because they can't even be close to themselves or each other. I don't know how many more examples I need in my life to tell me that I have to create the family that I want. I have to foster the relationships that I want. I have to be the friend that I want. So those examples, what I just shared with you about my cousin, why, which we still haven't really gotten into the hate for Cleveland. But I mean, I think you hear it. Cleveland reminds me of all of the alone time that I had when I was there, all the alone time that it is suffocating me now, and all the alone time that is potential to come. Because I romanticize and I think about how my family used to be, how we used to get together for every major holiday, how we used to have gift exchanges, how we used to have elders that we respected, how we used to respect each other, how we used to not be scared to leave our items with each other because we had respect and scarcity wasn't at play. How we used to love each other. That was then. This is now. The same way that black and brown and honestly white people, because media are breaking shit, rioting shit and looting shit. To my family, currently, I am the Louis Vuitton store. I am the Targets. I am the place that can be looted because I have it and they know I have the ability to have it again, so why wouldn't they take it? I have to get comfortable with the reality that if I go to a certain neighborhood in my hometown with a certain sneaker, I could lose my whole fucking life because they never seen said sneaker. I don't get to go back to my high school or middle school or grade school and just speak at a career day because half those kids make more money than me by being a system baby, by being on Social Security, by having a drug dealer, daddy, stepdaddy, mama's friend. Nobody needs to see me be a success because success looks different when you're in a certain place. What is successful in Cleveland, Ohio versus what is successful in the East Village of Manhattan, New York, where I currently live, they're different. My family, I'm going to keep coming for them because they're mine, and I'll fight any and one of y'all about them, but this is my shit. Success to them is a bag of weed, a liter of Hennessy, a fresh white tea, and having a phone on so you can stunt on social media to your posse. Their ecosystem is what sustains them. And maybe me being in it is like Avatar. Maybe me injecting it is like every episode of Family Matters where they did time travel and said, don't do something because it'll affect something else. Maybe, Chloe, I'm talking to me now, maybe you're not supposed to go back because it's your job to go forward. Take the lessons of what's back there and apply them to the reality of what's in front of you. Learn that if your family can steal from you, hurt you, assault you, rob you, rape you, damn sure a stranger can and will. Protect you, protect yourself, protect your sanity, because once again, you can't go back and do the work for them if you're not complete with your work for self. You can't give what you don't have. And just to be fully transparent, the way I was wrong. They raised the money, thanks to me, a lot quicker than anticipated, so I won't be at that funeral. Self-fulfilling prophecy. I won't be there, so they won't recognize me there, and they won't recognize me. I mean, I don't know, man. It sucks. It fucking sucks. It sucks. It sucks. It sucks. It sucks. It sucks. It hurts. It rips me apart. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts to know that you are your safety net. It hurts to know that I can no longer just go home and know that I can sleep on somebody's couch, or know that I won't have to foot every bill, or know that I'm not being judged because I listen to Amy Winehouse versus I don't know what black people listen to these days. Here it's Pop Smoke in Cleveland. I'm sure it's Pop Smoke too because social media. Excuse me. I've always been different. I always was not supposed to fit in, but I always thought that family was the one place where you could just lay down the burden. But sometimes family is the burden. So, Cleveland, Ohio, home of Chloe Beck, author, poet, comedian, executive producer, philanthropist, EGOT winner. Cleveland, Ohio, the place that she turned her back on with not a single regret. I just had to get that shit out. And I hope it speaks to somebody. I hope somebody hears me when I say stop working so hard. Stop putting so much pressure on yourself to be better than. The fact that you think that you have to do that tells me that you've already done it. You already are the success. And the one thing that I do learn from my counterparts who don't think cousins and grandmas and all those things are important, they definitely know that self-preservation is. They definitely know the importance of taking care of themselves because they never had to rely on family and they don't want to, even though they can. Ain't that some shit? Even though they can reach out to grandma and say, I need a down payment on my apartment, or I need something for this startup venture, they never had to have that love and that community and that connection in the same way. From in my experience, it has been my experience. Um, you can love your family, and you can love them from a distance. And when you are emotionally, financially, physically, mentally sound enough to engage, do it. But create boundaries. Respect you in the same way that you're trying to earn their respect. Matter of fact, respect you more so then they'll follow suit. You know, I was so envious. I talked to my sister about this, who now lives in Chicago, and she's like, I didn't know Jade as an adult. I remember her as this cute chocolate little baby, but I can't go there and potentially catch COVID or potentially lose my life to say goodbye to hers. I have to protect me and my family. Protect you and your family, chosen or otherwise. And for those of you who have the textbook family where this is not your narrative, be so grateful, so thankful. Love them, appreciate them, because for those of us who have trauma on top of trauma on top of trauma on top of trauma about family, I don't know how many things I will accept if I knew I could really trust and rely on my family. Coming out was not hard for me because they wasn't paying my bills, so I know some of you struggle with that. Like, there's so many things that I didn't have to lean on my family for because we were broken. But for those of you who can lean on your family because you are strong, lean, be grateful, carry the torch, don't take advantage, love them, because one day they will leave this earth, and I hope and I pray that that's not when you realize how important they were to you, because once they are gone, your relationship is what it was, and there's nothing you can do to change it. You just better hope that they knew that you loved them and you really accepted and was grateful and believed that they loved you. Now, once again, because the men if that's what you want to call them, who murdered Breonna Taylor, are still not arrested because we have no fucking clue what's going on in Ahmaud Arbery's case, because it's happening real right now, but so is the rest of the world. Because George Floyd's "I can't breathe" is not so different from the last man who said he couldn't breathe. Because trans women are dying, are being hurt, are being abused by the people in their community and the people out of their community and all the people who just choose to forget them, while all of y'all want to be happy and sad about not being able to shake your ass in sequin shorts for pride. Know that Marsha P. Johnson is the reason why you get to celebrate your pride and ignore the black pain that created it. Black lives matter. Black health matter. Black men matter. Black women matter. Black children matter. Black bodies matter. Black trans, black other, black lives matter. And I hope and pray that you guys realize that before we gone. Because who's going to fry your chicken? Who's going to give you the next hot dance? Who's going to give you the next fashion icon of an idea? Who's going to continue to let you sample their life without having to sample their pain? Black lives matter. Chloe Beck, your black life matters. Sarah Davis, your black life matters. Keisha Grimes, your black life matters. Jenny Lee Morency, your black nurse life matters. To you who I have not yet named and might not know, listening, insert your name right here. Your black life matters. Until next time, home is where the hurt is, but it ain't where it's got to stay. Start working on that hurt. Remove it so home is where you are. Thanks, girl, boy, other. Bye-bye now.